YouTube faithful, what is going on? It's Winning Wednesday. That's right, Winning Wednesday. If you watched this video yesterday on Taco Tuesday, you made coin if you followed the advice. What was the pair for the tacos, ladies and gentlemen? It was Zinger, 14.5 full game points, Gabby, for 2.25x. Cash it. Or I said you could go with Tyler Hero at 5.5 assists. Cash that. And then I backdoor covered with Hachimura, Tumani Kamara, LeBron James, and even under on Tatum's rebounds. Now, the fly in the ointment yesterday, unfortunately, folks, was, you guessed it, the Taco Zubox, which was Cinema and Powell, who we got insane closing line value. We took Powell at 30.5 fantasy points, and he was all the way up to 34.5, brother, by the time lock rolled around. And what happened? They got blown out of the gym. If he plays a full game, it's green. Probably Zubox too. They didn't get to play the full games. It is what it is. Now, this kid in the Discord by the name of Disco, aka Crashco, formulated this little slip where he took the three guys that I liked and just took the alternate lines with underdogs boost. And this is someone else's that tailed that lineup, but he put it in and he nuked. I guess not this particular one, but the guy that actually did. I just pulled this up randomly. I'm sure it's here somewhere. Where you at, Crashco? You runt? Man, I don't know where it is. We'll go back to that. But anyways, he got the slip in and he did good. The projections were on point yesterday. The fantasy point sheet was on point. If we would have taken Allen, my goodness. You can see here, Big Meat says, shout out, the projections helped me bang out a 28x and a 46x on underdog. Oh my goodness. What in the world? Well, congratulations to you. I think that was the other night before. But last night was a mixed bag for me personally. I had a lot of Gafford. I had his 2.5 blocks he hooked. Had his first half fantasy he sold. You could see here, this is straight from the list this guy took. I had Zubox under 12.5 rebounds, which is hilarious because then they gave him the taco at 10.5. I loved him to go under 12.5. Model had him at like 11.5. You can see I had this exact slip. Maxey first half, Giddy full game, Voos, Donnie. And then what did he do over here? The same exact thing. Pretty much he took a little bit of goblins. But also, folks, the live stream was surgical. It always is. Where'd we get that from? Russell assist under, Austin Reeves over fantasy score, live stream callouts, Susie with the slip from the live stream callouts, Tatum under, Hachi over, Tumani over. I gave those on the YouTube as well. Kawhi Leonard over 5 rebounds right here. This was built on the live stream. Cash it sweat free. I also gave Kawhi Leonard out on the YouTube video yesterday. All of these were given on the live stream as well. Nemhard's fantasy, Hatch. All of these were talked about and discussed as well. Now, I had Voos's full line at 10.5. They removed it. They were able to get the Goblin in cash. Good for them. I would have made copious amounts of coin yesterday if it wasn't for Zubox selling that taco and Gafford selling. It would have been biblical what I did. But the profit boost, guys, we had Embiid's first half and full game. We had Tyler Hero's assist. We had Powell at 19.5. Cash it all. And then my favorite play, which if you were in the live stream or in the Discord, you would have got it last night at the end before night closed, was LeBron James over 19.5 points. Specifically, all of the Lakers. I even gave out Gabe Vincent over points. Sweat free. Why? Because it started clicking and clanging and banging in my head. Once I saw it was a TNT game, I knew that the Lakers, with all the media attention and everything, they were going to go yard. LeBron cashed his points. He cashed his Goblin, cashed his fantasy score. If they didn't blow the Clippers out, it would have been a biblical day. It is what it is. People are cashing and jipping and jiving every day. If you're ready to get in the mix, I still have that Super Bowl promo. CaptainCrush.net, you go to the gold package. If you cashed yesterday, this is how you thank me. A lot of you guys come back and say thanks in the comments, and I do appreciate that. I really do. But get in the mix. Join the family while I have this promo. It's SB50, okay, all caps. If you're a new member, bang, it gives it to you your first month, $12.50. You'll get the live stream access. I promise you it's going to be the best $12.50 you spend today, probably all week, probably all year. Can I get an amen from those of you that are already in the cord in the comments section below? If you don't give me an amen, if you're currently currently in the cord, then you sold me. Because anyone that's in there knows this is a give it away price. You get my fantasy point projection sheets. You get my player projections, my slips, my daily props, access to live streams, all of it. So I hope to see you there. That promo code's leaving soon. SB50. Get in the mix. Join us today for today's live stream. And let's do the Lord's work together. What do you say, comment guy? You ready to stop being in poverty? I'm fixing to give you a process that wins coin. Now let's get today's cook over with because we got to get through here. It's late. It's 2 o'clock Central Time. This thing's going to be up, ready, loaded, clanging and banging by 2:30 or my name ain't Crush. Well, chalk that because it's probably going to take your boy at least 3 hours to get through this puppy and edit it. Play number 1. We're going to the MVP. We're going to the Oklahoma Thunder and we're going to Alexander. Now, here's the deal. No KD now. KD's ruled out of the mix. So we're already knowing that the Suns are possibly going to get torched. Now, what can we do about this? Well, even in a situation where they get torched, I still think Alexander can get 29.5 points. Now, do I wish it was lower? You betcha. But we got to deal with what we got. So, here's the deal here. Either one of these two are fine, okay? If this game does get ugly, which it very well could because the Suns are poverty and the Thunder are just the best team in the West, don't care, don't at me, don't fight me because it's true. Best record by a freaking country mile. Know your role, accept the facts. You can say whatever you want. Regular season merch. What does that even mean? Nobody cares. They're the best team in the West right now. Don't care. And we're not even fully healthy. But either one of these are fine. If you take Alexander with any random prop, it's paying you 2.75x. It's basically a normal square. So I think it's crispy. I think it's in the mix. We'll come back to you, Garland, which is, I know that line's going to be bumped after the news drop. Woo! But let's look at the 29.5 alternate line. 15 of his last 20, 7 of his last 10, last 5, 4 of his last 5. Let's put some filters on this mug, shall we? Show only home games, 3 of 5, 7 of 10, 12 of 20. Okay, it's still 30 points. It's still going to be a sweat, okay, especially if this game blows out. But I personally am going to have exposure to it. Now, I want to show you something else. The 39.5 alternate line to Gabi, if you will. 17 of his last 20, okay? 8 of his last 10, and 4 of his last 5. And if we show only home games, 4 of his last 5, 9 of his last 10, 14 of his last 20. But do you see what's going on here? That's why we're getting paid way more for this instead of this. If we take this with any random prop, it's 2.5x, okay? So I think this one is good. He could drop 40 real points by himself. Either one is fine. I'm risking it for the biscuit. If you don't want to risk the blowout situation, hey man, I get that. You could go right over here to his first half and you could get in the mix on his fantasy sco and hope to the almighty that he plays and starts cooking in the first half. But here's the thing, if he doesn't cook in the first half, there's probably not going to be a blowout unless you get somebody like Isaiah Joe to drop a crispy 25 on somebody again. Joe's been cooking. But here you go. This would be the blowout square if you're afraid of the blowout. Either one of these, I'll have exposure to both. Probably the 16.5 point. I'll probably have equal split exposure if I'm keeping it a buck. And we always want to keep it a buck around here. Let's look at his first half fantasy scout. 12 of his last 20. Well, let's just show home games. 13 of his last 20, 6 of his last 10, and 4 of his last 5. Now let's look at the points. First half points, where are you at, Chief? There it is right there. Only home games. 3 of his last 5, 5 of his last 10, and 10 of his last 20. Now, if you take that off, 13 of his last 20, 8 of his last 10, and 4 of his last 5. It's crazy. The man does better on the road? I mean, it's it just doesn't even make any sense. But look at the points allowed to the Suns. They're 25th. And look at the head-to-heads. Last time he played him, I was at this game, by the way. He only had 9. Game before that was last season, okay? Last 20, he's gone over in 13 of his 20. So it's going to be sweaty either way, guys. Full game, first half, it don't matter. It's going to be sweaty. But SGA, some would say, slip screen always. You got to consider the man. And the last thing we're going to do is look at the data market for him. And you can see here his points at 32.5 are slightly juiced under. His PRA is slightly juiced over. It's pretty much a 50-50. I mean, they're signaling a blowout. Let's be real. I mean, they already know. So I'm just giving you guys this because I will have exposure to it. And I don't want it to cash and people be like, Cab, why didn't you ever say anything about it? Because I'm telling you right now, I'm taking it. But I'm also telling you that it's going to be sweaty. And I say that so if you want to fade it, you can. Now let's look a little deeper. I have Alexander going for 32 42 points, 5 rebounds, 5.6 assists. Okay, so 42 PRA. It's going to be close, which is why I went with the Gabbies, okay? Y'all got to understand, as good as the play is, as good as the Gabby is, they could still sell, okay? Look at Zinger, Garland, and Mobley combined for like 0 first half points in the first half until the bottom 3 minutes. I think Zinger got 4. Between the 3 of them, they had like 10 points at half. It was cinema. That happens. 1 for 9 for Mobley, 0 for 7 for Zinger, and then like 0 for 6 for Garland. Guys, that's the type of stuff that happens. And speaking of Alexander, we might be going right back to Nickeil Alexander-Walker at 9 points. All right. You can see at 8.5, he's minus 140. If you could find him at 8.5, I'd love it. But when I saw this, I went and checked the data model. He's projected for 10. 10. You see right here, 10. So with that, I think you could go with there, but I'm not spending too much time on there. It just was something when I was pulling up Alexander. I saw it. I thought I'd throw it in there. You guys can do with that whatever you want. Is Garland up on the board yet? Nope, he's not. Garland at 6.5 assists is an elite square, but again, news is out, so we're gonna have to wait and see what they adjust those lines to. So live stream for you. Somebody commented in there the other, man, advertise my buddy. All I do is tell people where they can get in my live streams and stuff, which is in the Discord and the Dub Club. Do I advertise it? Yeah, I do, because 1, it's my business, and 2, I believe in what I do. I know I'm doing the Lord's work. Bro walks into a business. Hey, do you guys advertise? It cracks me up what some people do. Bro, you're watching a free video yesterday that literally fed you. It was like 5 and 2 or 6 and 2. Fed you. How about a thank you and say thanks, crush, and that's the end of it, buddy. But anyways, I don't like to spend too much time on those clowns, because if they ever came on a cook-to-cook basis, on a mic-to-mic basis, they'd get cooked. They know it. I know it. The whole world knows it. Now, we got to talk about someone else. The man, the myth, the legend. Guerschon Yabusele. I'm just kidding. We ain't talking about Yabusele. We're talking about Maxey, the new wagon. Oh yeah, baby. Tyrese Maxey, the new wagon. This guy needs, I was telling people in the court the other day, they got to start putting some respect on this man, because this guy cooks. He respects coin. He does it all. Doesn't matter if Embiid's on the court or not. Look at the man. Look at this guy. First half, this is the highest point we're buying Maxey at, but it don't matter, okay? His first half fantasy score, where is it? First half fantasy score, 10 of his last 20, 8 of his last 10, though. 8 of his last 10, the man is literally, bang, flip the switch where he's just crushing. He's on a back-to-back that does have me a little bit worried, but the man plays obscene, copious amounts of minutes. 20, 19, 18, 19, 20, 23 minutes. He's exceeded 25 and a half first half fantasy score in 8 straight games. I mean, the man just cooks, and I'm going right back to him. I'm sorry. Look at the head-to-heads, okay? Last game they played, he had 11. This was last season, but 40, 30, 26, all in the first half. I'm not afraid of Miami. Both teams are on a back-to-back. It's going to be what it is, but I honestly think Maxey's first half fantasy score, even his first half points, could be in the mix, but at 16.5. But like I said, I'm probably just going to go with the fantasy. This is the highest I've ever bought him at, 25.5, but we got to have the exposure to this man. He's just doing too much. He's just playing so many minutes with an absurd usage rate. I feel like it's just a disservice if I don't target him. You know what I mean? Even his full game fantasy at 50 has to be considered. But I'm just going to go with the first half and call it. And I don't like to tell you guys to go heavy on first half plays because, you know, they're very volatile. Them in first quarter plays. One day, I think it was last week, I did a video and the first half plays swept. Sometimes that happens, but a lot of the times your night can be over before you know it, okay? One half a ball and it's over, and then people backdoor cover. Example, Porzingis. He chalked his first half, but then he backdoor covered everything. Full game fantasy, points. You know what I mean? So you never want to just like let your night depend on the first half unless you just have a stone read or you're taking a wagon play, but my night won't be made or broken on Maxey tonight. I can tell you that for a fact, but I am going to have exposure. And heck, on the other side, if you're looking for a 1v1 skinny Vinny, you could go with Tyler Hero, his PRA points or something like that. His first half, I wouldn't hate it. I mean, I don't think it's too bad. Tyrese Maxey in 41 games played, he's averaging 38 minutes, a 31% usage rate, and 1.18 fantasy points per minute. So let's do the math, kids. 1.18 8, multiply it times his average first half, bang. He's going to average 23.6 fantasy points per minute. Now, that doesn't account for people being out. That's overall how many games he's played so far this season with all the roster and everything. The Paul Georges, the Embiids. Right now, we're still waiting on news. Anything can happen there, but this is what his average is going to be. So you could see it's still too high, but like I said, we're buying high on Maxey. Normally you want to sell high, buy low, but he is an exception because of his extremely high usage in minutes he's playing. I'm giving him a shot, and he's just been cashing for me. All those 8 games I've been on him, so I have no reason to get off the kid right now. Pause! Talking about ball, we're good here. I'm going to keep riding that train until I'm forced off. Now, the next player that I like on tonight's slate, there is 11 games. There's so many players I could talk about, guys, but I'm trying to condense it. That's again why the live stream is going to be so very important tonight, like it is each and every night. Between the YouTube and live stream yesterday, I think I had like 12 props right and 3 wrong. 12 and 3 between the two last night. I mean, crispy cinema. But Ant Edwards versus the Chicago Bulls. Baby, you know Edwards is playing minutes. You know he's got a high usage rate. We got to flip the switch here. I want to say something else, but I don't want to get in trouble. We got to take a shot on Ant Edwards. 24.5 for a Gabi for the Ant-Man is just too low. I think you could use it as a staple for daily doubles if you want. I mean, I got this guy projected for 29.7, so almost 30. So we're looking at a 5-point differential right there, okay? And then, where's his fantasy score? Give me that fantasy score, boy. Where you at? Where's it at? Are they gatekeeping it? No, it's going to be like 50, watch, trust. Gonna be that 50 piece. 49.5. I think it was 48, 49 earlier. I think you could get behind this one, okay? Why? Because the Bulls are going to be a pace-up spot for him. It's going to be a great spot for Anthony Edwards. I'm torn between either one of these two. I'm definitely going to have shares of the Gabi. I'm not sure how much of the fantasy score I'm going to have, but it will 100% be making its way into my slips. In fact, I gave both of these plays out in my daily prop list in the Dub Club already, so you know that I'm going there. Now, let me look and show you guys this right here. Fantasy score. Oh, Cap, he's only gone over in 3 of his last 10. Oh, my goodness, 6 of his last 20. Oh, 2 of his last 5. Yeah, it's awful, isn't it? But you know what? He's due. That's all I got to say. He's due. Now, if you look at the head-to-heads, he got a 50 burger last time he played, but I don't even care about that, man. I just know Ant Edwards, his fantasy point per minute's good. This is the highest his fantasy point has been ever. So I wouldn't mind if you listen to me carefully. If you're next level, you know this is the highest Ant Edwards has ever been in recent memory since we can remember. So I wouldn't mind if you take less just for that reason alone. But you'd have to be the one that's tracking the scores and going that way. But for me, I just went on this side. It doesn't feel good. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't feel good. My night, again, will not depend on Ant Edwards tonight, but I do like me some of this. Why? It's a 5-point differential. I can't ignore it. They're ranked 29th in points allowed versus point guards 23 versus shooting guards 25th. Head to head, he dropped 33 on him. He's gone over 24.5, 9 of his last 20, 5 of his last 10. And 3 of his last 5. But you can see the last game he played, he only had 21. He had 36, 33. He's due a 30 burger. Okay, if Ant gets a 30 burger, he's going to be getting the fantasy score and he's going to be getting the other thing else. Look, he has 65, 59. Don't forget what he's capable of. He has it in him, okay? We can't be too hyper-focused on what he did before. Now, in addition to that, I think this number is too high. Now, I know I just told you to take more. I gave you the reason to take more on his fantasy and a reason you could take less. I'm not getting off of the 24.5 Goblin, but look at this. I think you could take less here. I've actually been taking less on this when it's been 22, and now it's the highest I've ever seen, and I'm gonna that'll be like my hedge, I guess, because he's gone under this in 5 of the last 5, 10 of the last 10, and 17 of his last 20 he's gone under this, okay? Now, I know Randall's out and yada yada, but I don't think Randall is enough to make this to where it's just going to be this crazy number. So, I'm still going to take less on this. Now, this is probably the worst spot to take it because, again, Randall's out, the matchup's a pace-up spot, it's the Bulls. However, I've been riding this train and I'm just going to keep riding it, baby. I'm going to keep riding my wagons until they force me off and force me to adjust. And guess what? You know what the best thing about taking unders is, chat? I know I don't really talk about unders on this channel too much because it's more fun to sweat overs as a community. However, you got 3 implied equity factors: blowouts, players just playing absolutely trash, missing their shots / ejections, and 3, coaches' decisions to just go with a different rotation or play small. You got all that stuff working in your favor. So he's going to have to beat me to get 25 field goal attempts. I'm green until I'm red. You understand? That's what's fun about an under, okay? We got to start looking at the other side of the coin. I personally take them probably every day. I just keep it on the low key because you got to have a different set of stones to sweat unders on the regular, okay? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, comment guy. But we like to keep it a buck around here, so we will. Now, another play that I took last night at 17.5 is good old Zach Attack, Riza Shea, if you want to be French Connecticut, whatever, or what's that? The French Connect, whatever. Okay. But let's just call him Zach Attack because I'm not a Frenchman. 12.5 points. If you want to eat the bump on 18.5 and join the public, how about Mobley yesterday? The most popular play in America. It went down in flames. I think either one of these two are fine. If you want to eat the bump, I wouldn't begrudge you a bit. That's just a throwaway one that I came across. Again, the Goblin's obviously going to be optimal. I think this one's fine or that one's fine. I don't like the fact that it's a bump. And then there's a couple other ones that I wanted to touch on really quick before we get out of here. This video is already getting too long. De'Aaron Fox is going to be playing on the Spurs now, guys. So there is going to be a lot of things to watch there. I can't make any moves until I see how things go, but I am tempted to look at Wemby, probably his Goblin points or something like that. I can't flip the switch just yet, but we're going to be watching that so we can see how those two work together and play together. I'm excited to see what happens over there. Okay, now there's a few more things that I'm going to touch on here. Another under that's absolutely crazy that I was toying with was Malik Monk less 20.5 points. And the only way I would take this is if I did this. So I would take more 15.5 but less 20.5. And before you call me crazy, look, I haven't projected for 17.8. Let's call it 18. So I could cash both of these. And then look at this. Under 20.5 points is minus 142 on Pinnacle. He's 19.5 on other books. So you know he's probably going to go down to 19.5. Well, maybe not because everyone's probably taking more because they're like, well, no Fox, it's Monk's team now. All that stuff is true, but the matchup is absolutely terrible for him. So I think if you take less on Monk, you would have to take more on his Goblin somewhere. Middle the bet, and hopefully you get there. You could just take one or the other, take less here and more here separately, but I think that's the optimal play. I did want to throw that in there. I gave you, that's 2 unders that I gave you for this video, something I normally don't do, but why not? And then the last thing, I promise this is it, the big Galoop who sold us all on Saturday, Monday or Tuesday night. Monday night, Zion Williamson, they gate kept him. He's only going to play like 25 to 28 minutes, okay? That's just what's going on. But I got to say, if you can find his assist at 5, you might have to take more on it, okay? I took it earlier at 5. They bumped it to 5.5. They have his rebounds at 6.5. I was dibbling and dabbling and considering his RA. Nowhere had it, so I got it on, I believe it was Chalkboard. Now PrizePicks has it here at 12. I think either one of those are fine, but also his Goblin at 17.5 points could be considered. He just had a bad game versus Denver the last time they played. These teams just met, but that's pretty much it. The last thing I'm going to do is let's make a lineup together, and then we're going to get out of here, boys, and I'm going to do some things before the live stream that will be today at 5:15 Central. Don't forget to get in the mix. You do that, CaptainCrush.net, gold package, let's cook. All right, this is going to be our dart, okay? 9 points, which that, you know, we're making a 6-man here. Where's Shai at? Okay, there he is. Shai. All right. 39.5 PRA. Yeah, we'll take that one. Or you can take this one. Either or is fine with Crush. All right. Let's go to our first half. Maximus. Tyrese Maxey. 25.5. By the way, Durant's out. So when they put Beal up, you take Beal. Okay. Booker's up, but his lines are high. But I believe you could take... Okay, Beal's up right here. Beal is at 29.5 fantasy score. I think this would be the one to take. Or his points at 18. I'll have to come back back to Billy. He's not going to go on this one. Let me think about that. I'm going to have to come back to it. But for now, so if we did these 4, you'd had Alexander, Maxey, and Monk less. You could literally get 8x for that, even with the Goblin. And then you have Anthony Edwards. You could take, where is he at? You could take more on the fantasy score, and then you get 7x, 1.75. Or you could take less, 24 field goals attempted. You get the same payout. Or you could take his 24.5 points right here. And then there you go. It would be 6x if you get 5.5. At that point, I'd probably just power it because your equity's gone for the 4 and 3. If you did that, you would get 10x. But this is obviously the most risky of it. That'll probably be the one that cashes sweat free. That's just how it always is. Next would be the volatility of Tyrese Maxey. You know, first halves are always going to be sweaty. We talked about that. And then the rest are there. And then you have Zion. An honorable mention. He's on the popular play tab, which stinks. But John Collins, 17.5 points. I think it's hitting. I took it earlier myself. I think he's going to get there. I think his fantasy scores in play too, but I mainly just like his points, so I went with that. But anyways, guys, quick video today. Not a lot of analytical breakdowns. Put something together. Go light. It's a big slate, so maybe you make your coin on live bets today. There's going to be a ton of value that drops in the crunch time window, so make sure you get in that live stream at 5:15. Super Bowl SB50 is the code, CaptainCrush.net gold package, $12.49 for your first month. Get in the mix, guys. Here's the salute. Good luck in all your contests. And as always, my brothers and sisters in Christ, let's crush.